Hey all, this is Eucep again, and I'm going to have a look at the 1 to 144th scale Tieren. At least I hope that's pronounced properly. The Tieren ground type. This is from the series 00 grunt suit, at least that is how I understand it. And its general design is pretty much taken from the Zaku, but I'm not really sure how to best describe it, but it's more like it's been made into a more realistic war machine than what the original Zaku is, or the Zaku 2. For comparison, here is a Zaku 2 Char 2, or Zaku 2 Char's Custom, and well, it's this mono eye design and with the shoulder pad like this, but then on both sides, and the gun and just the general aesthetics. That's pretty much where this guy is based on, which I quite like. Actually, I like him so much after this build that I've decided, one, I'm not going to decal him up or even paint him for the time being, because I'm going to wait for the 1 to 100 scale one to come in, because I've ordered that one, and I have plans for this one then. Anyway, I found this pose in the manual itself, and I thought, hey, this looks cool. It's this pose. But I found the only way to really get it is to fib around a bit, because he can't actually hold on to the gun in this pose, because the gun actually only plugs into the side of the arm, and the arms themselves can't rotate below the elbow. So if he could have rotated there, then he could have made that pose, but as it is now, well, the gun just rests on his hand. He can't actually hold it. There's no actual peg for it. So yeah, you pretty much end up like this to get that pose. But still, for the rest, I'll have a look at him and show what he can do. Right. What I really like about this kit is the fact that as a mecha design, it's quite different from most other Gundams and even grunt suits and other mobile suits, and there is just something which more screams like this is a tank than this is a mobile suit, which is helped by the design of how the joints work and various other parts. So let's have a look at him now that he's straight again. As you can see, he is completely unpainted with one little exception. I've painted in the mono eye, because if you don't put on a sticker or paint it, there is no showing of the mono eye. And as you can see, there's no moving of the head. You have to remove the skull cap to even move the mono eye around, and then put it back together to have him look straightforward. All in all, this is an excellent looking kit. As I said, it does scream somewhat of a tank, and I really like that design. The build itself was fairly simple, but there's a few places where you have to pay attention, otherwise you'll put things the wrong way around, especially in the legs with the mechanics. I had a few points where I had to look at least twice before putting it together. This kit is excellent for detailing, and in terms of mechanical works, this kit has quite a few unusual ways in how it works. For example, the shoulders you normally have plug in here, but in this kit it pretty much completely packs into the middle, where there's a connection for some of the joints. altogether, there's a lot of things which you don't normally see on most Gundam kits. In terms of accessories, he is very, very light. He comes with his gun, which you normally plug into his arm. And you get one spare hand. That's it. Oh yeah, and on his back he has this melee weapon, which you can plug into his butt by these little hooks, which do seem a little bit frail, so swapping that weapon in and out might not be the smartest thing to do a lot of. The weapon itself plugs into these closed hands. There's a little pack on the blade itself which fits into a little hole there. Let's see if I can get them apart. I forgot how. Oh yes, this way. So put in the blade. Put on the fingers again, and here you have the blade, which, well, looks satisfying, but it's not the best melee weapon ever. Then again, it does fit it's more like a utilitarian knife and blade for cutting away foliage and that kind of stuff than a real melee weapon, in my opinion. So it kind of fits the, well, nearly tank-like nature of this mobile suit. And the tank-like nature is pretty much helped by the fact that most of his upper body is like the turret of a tank in the way it looks. And pretty much when you're building it, it's really like you're having a turret of a tank and you're slapping on parts of, well, a robot, which gives a very unique look. I already showed for articulation the moving mono eye, and let's go on from there. As I said, there was something unique with the articulation, with their pinning all the way into the middle. That's for this. His entire shoulder assembly moves backwards and forwards, and this is the entire range of the motion. So it's not incredibly much, but it's more than enough to add some abilities to this kit, especially considering the fact that he can't look left or right. Each shoulder has a rotation, movement up and down, which is somewhat hampered by the shoulder shield, but the shoulder shield itself is on a swivel and a rotation, so can move around as needed to get out of the way. There's a rotation just below the shoulder. There's a single joint in the elbow. This little flap above the hand has a slight bit of motion, which allows for a bit more movement in the hand itself, which is the usual ball joint. It's again press in, pull out for more or less movement in the wrist, or have a bit cleaner look. Same goes for the other arm. They're pretty much identical. You can fit the gun on either side. As you can see, this hand is a split open hand. I wish there were two in this kit because it would fit a bit better, but alas, there's no such thing in this kit. Around the back, you can remove the backpack if you want to, but you're left with a big pack, so just leave it in. For the waist, it rotates, and as there is nothing really hampering it, he can rotate the entire way. There's also a swivel, which allows some back and forward motion. It's fairly sturdy, despite not being completely centered, so it's a bit off, but it's sturdy enough that it will not sag over time. The hips are interesting. Before I go on, the back and front skirts don't move at all, but there's no real need for them to do so either. The hips are quite interesting. There's a ball joint here, and then there is this sidewards piece which pegs into the upper leg. So he can stand straight like this, but you can also move it down a bit so he stands higher with the legs closer together. So that's up to you, but it also allows him, well, to actually do a pretty high movement of the leg. For, well, a Perceptor kick, it's almost there. Rotation backwards and forwards. Altogether, these are pretty good legs with free motion. There's a double joint in the knee. There's not much movement in the upper leg, but the lower leg has plentiful, and as you can see, it's a pretty good bend, especially for such a basic grunt suit. The ankle itself is a simple case of a ball joint and nothing more than that. There is a little swivel in this joint guard, and on this leg you have the big shield, which is on its own hinge but can do anything more than backwards and forwards, and that's it. It is connected with a polycap, so you can easily remove it, and it could swivel over that, but it collapses with everything, so you can only move it backwards and forwards like this. Altogether, nothing. Well, it's not a superposable kit, but for what it is, for a gun suit, I think it's incredibly well designed, and I can't wait to actually get a hold of the 1 to 100 scale one. The 100 scale one has a higher detail rate. It's more made like an actual military kit, so like those Ravel tanks and such things. That level of detail is in that one, and I'm going to leave that one in the original Tieren colors. This one I intend to turn into Charged Tieren. So yeah, when I get the 1 to 100 scale, this guy's going pink. Don't look so angry at me for that, Tieren. You're going to be pink. And, well, for some additional size comparison, here is the Jagan and a deluxe transformer, just for the size comparison. And, well, I think this is a highly recommendable kit. It's not the most usual in the Gundam build kits line, but it's highly recommendable because it's just awesome looking. Thank you all for watching. This was Eucep. See you next time.